Dear students, today we are going to study stanza number 6 and 7 from the Intimation of Immortality by Wordsworth. So, here we can title it The Architecture of Forgetting, or uh, we can say it a process of forgetting our divine thoughts or our link with the divine world. Decoding the soul's descent in Wordsworth's ode, Intimation of Immortality. So comes the trajectory of soul. Wordsworth Ode maps this tragic but gentle decline, a process where living equates to losing our original life. First stage is the divine origin. The human soul is immortal and originates in a pure heavenly realm. Threshold of birth, entering the physical world. So, from divine origin, we shift to the physical world by our birth. The gradual forgetting. Worldly influences begin to obscure the soul's divine memory. As we grow in this world, our attention diverges to the worldly attractions, and our relationship with the divine world gets weaker. Reversing the paradigm of growth. Learning as acquisition. The standard modern belief that we enter the world empty and accumulate knowledge, identity, and wisdom as we age. Learning as remembering. Plato argued, Plato argued the soul exists before birth, possessing ultimate. Therefore, learning is merely remembering what we once knew. Wordsworth adopts and modifies this. Life itself is a continuous process of forgetting our divine origin. Mode of limitation. Stanza 6 and 7 explain exactly how the forgetting happens through two progressive stages. Step 1 is, in stanza 6, the earthly destruction. Nature and sensitive players gently pull the soul's attention away from the divine. Step 2, stanza 7, the social, social imitation. Society forces the child into an endless loop of role playing, burying the original self. Stanza 6, the earthly gravity. Earth fills her lap with players of her own, yearnings she hath in her own natural kind, and even with something of a mother's mind, and no unworthy aim, the homely nurse doth all she can. So here he calls nature a homely nurse. Earth, Earth is characterized as simple, nurturing, and caring, but fundamentally limiting. To make her foster child, her inmate man, forget the glories he hath know. The explicit goal of the earthly player is destruction from spiritual truth, and that imperial place whence he came. The heavenly world, the pure divine state of soul before birth. The gravity of the homely nurse. Earth is not evil, she acts as a homely nurse offering beauty, joy, and sense to pleasure. However, these pleasures act as a gentle gravity. By captivating the child with toys, games, and nature, Earth shields the child from the overwhelming vastness of the imperial palace above, quietly limiting their spiritual awareness. The imperial palace was divine, infinite. In this slide, you can see the vast sky full of stars and beauty and all this. Here is the earth's lap, which is very safe, small, and limiting. So the spark modified here, and the child attracted to the gravity of the gentle nurse, that is earth, with the toys, with the beauty, with the security. So his link with his divine world gradually gets weaker and weaker. A fall without malice. Milton's Fall, Paradise Lost. A punitive fall from grace. Adam and Eve are cast out of paradise due to sin, disobedience, and divine judgment. Wordsworth's Fall, the Ode. A gentle fall into worldly consciousness, the child is not punished. They are merely nurtured by the earth so deeply that they become distracted. The tragedy lies in the gentle fading of memory, not in divine wrath. So, the fall of Milton's fall means the fall of the man, which is discussed in Paradise Lost, that is due to the punishment. But the fall which Wordsworth is discussing in the Ode is not due to the wrath of the divine world, but actually it's due to the fading memory of human being. Stanza 7. The Theatrical Society. Bold the child among his new-born blisses, some fragment from his dream of human life, shaped by himself with newly learned art, a wedding or a festival, a mourning or a funeral, the little actor cones another part. So, newborn blisses, the child begins full of divine imagination, still carrying memories of immortality. The little actor cones another part. Society forces the child to assume artificial adult roles, filling from time to time his humorous stage with all the persons down to a pellucid age, as if his whole vocation were endless imitation. A powerful critic, humans abandon their true spiritual selves to mimic social expectation. The endless imitation cycle. So a cycle starts with the growth of the man, in which we can say it's a vicious circle in which he is entrapped. In the second stage of imitation, the child stops living in imagination and begins preparing for real social roles. Identity is replaced by imitation. The true self is obscured, loss of spiritual originality. Then a new role is demanded, moving towards placid age. Then society presents a script, dialogues of business, love, or strife. Child imitates. The little actor cones another part. So these are all the stages of life which a child faces during his growth process. The layer of conformity. How the humorous stage buries the soul. Society shapes a child by adding layers of external identity. With each new mask applied, the radiant core of immortal memory is pushed forward out of sight. So, the first layer is very deep and the play of nature, newborn places. Then comes a second layer, social rituals, a wedding or a festival. Then comes a third layer, tragedy and duty, a mourning or a funeral. Then the layer 4, adult burdens, business, love, or strife. And so, in the center, we can see the divine core. If we imagine that the center is the divine core, pure imagination, so the child wears so many masks, he goes through so many stages that the divine core remains at the bottom of his memory, and he is covered with the layers and the layers and the layers. The curve of forgetfulness. So here is a graph, time and aging. Vertically, it is showing the awareness of the divine or immortality. Horizontally, it is showing time or aging. So the place of peak, the soul in the imperial place. So from where we start, that is the peak, that is imperial palace. Then growth starts and gentle slope. The homely nurse pulls the gaze down. So a steady downfall starts in the childhood. Then man starts to grow in this world, and the steep decline starts. Steep drop comes in his life. The humorous stage forces imitation, adulthood. Then terminal spark. Traces of immortality remain recovered through poetry or memory. The matrix of existence. Origin state divine imperial palace. This is childhood. Adult worldly or humorous stage. Dominant fecality. In childhood, the dominant fecality is pure imagination, whereas in adulthood, prepared reality. Relationship to world. In childhood, close to God or heaven. In adulthood, distracted, forgetful. Ultimate vocation. In childhood, natural spiritual being, and in adulthood, endless imitation. For Wordsworth, maturation is an inversion of the soul's natural state. The lingering spark, a tragic but gentle decline. The journey from the divine to the worldly is inevitable. The light of childhood imagination gives way to the limitation of adult imitation. The persistence memory. Though we forget our origins, the loss is not absolute. Traces of immortality remain buried within the human consciousness. The role of the poet. Poetry and the memory act as the vital tools to pierce through the social mass, helping us momentarily rediscover light of the imperial world.